If you Google level 2 autism, you'll get a list of symptoms and the DSM definition, but that's not really telling you what level 2 autism is like on a day-to-day basis, what it actually looks like. I'm level 2 autistic, and it can look very different than what you might expect or assume based on reading a list on Google. Level 2 autism is not just about traits, it's about how the traits you have impact your functional capabilities, how those traits you have impact your day-to-day life and what you can and cannot do. That's what level 2 autism is really talking about. This is a key thing that people miss when the discomfort turns into distress and loss of skill in that area. Once you get to the point where you're not able to do it, I feel like that's when it's getting into level 2 autism. This can also be further exacerbated by stress or burnout. You can experience skill loss and skill regression on top of the limitations and functional loss that you may already have as a level 2 autistic person. I personally have experiences skill regression. I lost the ability to drive for a period of time when I went into burnout. Some level 2 autistic people can drive, some of them can't. But if you burn out as an autistic person, no matter what level you are, you can lose skills. And I don't feel like that's talked about enough. Another thing that I feel like is really telling if you're a level 2 autistic is the experience of not being understood and being completely taken the wrong way a lot by other people. But that's something a lot of people experience. But when you're level 2 autistic, it can lead to you being confused about yourself. Like, you don't even know if you believe yourself or you believe what other people are telling you that you're doing or that you're trying to do. So for me, that's what it was like for me. It made me confused about, like, am I really being rude, or am I actually trying to be this way that they're saying? You get confused about what your own intentions are. And I feel like that's just like another level of just confusion, because when you're level 2 autistic or autistic at all, people will, misunderstand you and misread certain things. And I have to remind myself, like, not all social problems are me. Not everything that goes wrong in a social situation is me. Just because somebody says that I'm doing something doesn't mean it's true. So it's hard to, like, keep trust with yourself when you're level 2 autistic, because you can hear a lot of stuff from other people. Like, growing up, for me personally, I have family members and stuff tell me a lot growing up that I was being manipulative, that I was a liar, that, I just, never telling the truth, just making stuff up. And that really gets in your head. Even now, I'm 20 years old, and, like, I still have these patterns and things come up because of all that happened during my childhood. Shutdowns, meltdowns, and losing the ability to speak. That's a big one for level 2 autistic people. Shutdowns and meltdowns can be more outwardly noticeable. I personally given myself a concussion during a meltdown, and I had post-concussion syndrome for like almost a year because I gave myself a concussion. My shutdowns look like not really being able to speak, not really eating, losing the ability to do things around the house. And this can go on for long periods of time. There might be like crying fits, or what people may, see as a tantrum or things of that nature. They can be more outwardly visible, while level 1 autistic people may be able to contain meltdowns and shutdowns and push through burnout when it comes with speaking and communication. And for level 2, you may not be able to push through that, and you may have, outwardly noticeable crying fits or breaking things, hitting yourself, hitting walls, things of that nature. You may not have any friends at all. I'm 20 years old. I have two people that I talk to sometimes, like, and that's like that's it for me. And I don't hang out with them. I don't talk to them on a regular basis at all. Um and that's just kind of how it is. You may not have any friends. Like, you may have friends for short periods of time and then you can't keep it up, or you may not have, situations where you can even meet people. You know what I mean? So relationships, friendships, family relationships, anything like that can be really hard to get and to maintain. For me personally, I can sometimes find people that I can talk to for short periods of time, but I just don't have the energy to maintain it, especially if I have increased demands. Like, if my demands go up, like, my ability to talk and keep up with people is gonna go down. The only time I'm able to really keep up communication is when I have really, really low demands and I'm doing better than usual. So it's like these short periods of time where I'm able to keep in contact with people. And then it's like, people don't really, stick around for a lot of that. You know what I mean? If you're only talk to people every once in a while, in this day and age, they're not really going to keep up. But I have, two people that I can talk to very occasionally. So far, it's been sustainable, but it's really hard. And this actually leads me into my next point, which is secondary diagnosis like anxiety and depression. A lot of the times you could have really bad anxiety and depression when you're level 2 autistic. I personally do. I have generalized anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder, specifically because of my autism. When I got diagnosed, she was like, it's purely from your autism, basically. If you really think about it, if you're having all these people misunderstanding you, you can't keep friendships, you lose functional capability in important everyday day-to-day tasks, that will lead you to having depression. You're isolated, you're not able to do the things that you want to do or even just need to do. Your peers probably start outpacing you at some point. That causes anxiety and depression. So it's really hard, especially as you start getting into adulthood. As a level 2 autistic person, I feel like, if you weren't diagnosed with a level and you start reaching into adulthood, you can kind of see it start to show. Because with autism, symptoms and severity may be covered up by the fact that you haven't completely exceeded your capabilities, right? I had, struggles when I was younger, but it wasn't so obvious because I hadn't reached past my capability yet. But when I did, it was very obvious and everything crashed pretty much. And that's kind of how it is with adult diagnoses of autism. You have a big burnout, everything goes to shit, then you get diagnosed. So when people look at level 2 autism from the outside, it's just the symptoms and stereotypes and everything. But from the inside, it affects so much in so many different ways.